Alright guys, what is up? Welcome back in. We are live with the Red Bull Global Qualifier number 2. Attempt to qualify for the Santa Monica Battlegrounds, the Global Battlegrounds, I guess if you want to call them. Going to be an epic event. I mean, if these qualifiers are already as good as they are and so jam-packed with this much talent and the top talent around the world, any region is involved. You can only imagine what's going to happen at the grand finals, but here we go. Starting over here at the top right side of the map, representing StarTale, we have the Zerg player Curious. Wonderful decision making there at the very end of the game that helped him win. I mean, just little things like that. Just little things like that, deciding that, man, maybe I should just risk and try to give him by a little bit of time, build some banelings. I'm actually surprised that AxRyung didn't try to pressure his opponent. Like, as soon as he saw the banelings forming, I'm surprised he didn't just try to step up and try to fight the army that he had right then and there. Because as soon as those banelings formed, I think it was pretty much game over. But man, just like little inches, just seconds upon seconds, man. How we talk about it, like after those banelings were done, he lost that game. But man, other than that, in the whole scheme of things, that game was going back and forth, base trades, chaotic scenarios. That really is a true test of a StarCraft player in RTS real-time strategy. Like, it's pretty hard to find something better than that, man. It is hard to find something better than that. Alright guys, now starting down here at the bottom left side of the map, representing AxRyung Esports, we have the Terran player AxRyung. Played again a very wonderful game number 1. Played a really fun game number 2. He actually showed up some pretty good micro right there between all of his Marines splitting and positioning and everything else that he attempted to do. But unfortunately, just there, kind of at the very end game, like I said, just a couple seconds away from a win and let it slip, man. You know, it's that Eminem song. If you had one shot, one opportunity, would you capture it or would you let it slip? AxRyung kind of fumbled. He didn't exactly let it slip. He just kind of fumbled it a little bit, you know. It's like football. It's like watching that game was like watching AxRyung like a running back. Like somebody gave him a football, he broke like 5 tackles, and he's almost at the goal line about to score, and then there's like that cornerback that just like runs and just like rips the football out of his hand like at the very last second, like on the 5-yard line, like something like that. That was just very, very last secondy. Now, Curious, very interestingly enough, is going to be going for what looks to be a very aggressive, maybe Ling Bane style of play. We'll see if he continues mining after he gets the first 100 gas. You don't take this forward hatch unless you are planning to go for usually an aggressive playstyle and all-in of sorts as well. So we will see here momentarily. We have almost enough gas for speed. He pulls off. Oh ho 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 ho. Mr. Curious, what are you doing? You're making me curious right now. Well, he does have a free third hatch, if he ever does want it. But Reaper does find the forward third hatch. Very interesting. You don't see it too often. I will say, you don't see it too often. He has some Lings already heading across the map, but AxRyung, due to his opener right now, he'll have a couple Marines out as well on his side of the map. He's got to be a little bit careful, though. How many of your Lings are... Oh, just 2. Okay. He's going to get the first shot off. Stutter step. Bam, down you go. Adding in that starport, we might just see a same playstyle that we saw from game number 2. Well, hold on, that barracks is kind of going off on its own right now. Oh, he's gonna go hunt the Overlord. I was about to say, I'm like that barracks is kind of going off on its own somewhere. Well, that does give a little bit more information for Curious right now. Is Overlord going to go down? He does snipe it, so that actually blocks Curious for the time being. Their speedlings now, or should be speedlings almost out on the map. Their upgrade's just about done. Is the armory going to drop? That's what I'm wondering right now. Is the armory going to drop? The armory has to drop right now. He's getting meta. He's going to get a Viking out, then he's going to get a Medivacs out. He's got Hellions in production, so he's basically going to follow it up with the same playstyle that he did from game number 1, just going to go very aggressive into Marine Hellbat. Now this time I want to see, does Curious learn his lesson? Does he get more Queens out on the map? Because that was the key factor in that game number 1. The Queens were not out, so he didn't have enough anti-air to actually deal with the Medivacs for pushing them off. Once the Queens fell, the Overlords began falling as well with the Viking out on the map, and just not able to reproduce another army. Now, AxRyung, of course, he hasn't dropped the armory yet, so he might be looking for a little bit of a quicker just drop with Ling Hellion play. Sorry, Marine Hellion play. Curious, meanwhile, dropping the Baneling Nest. Does he go for Roach Warren at all? I didn't see one, so no. But he does have more queens this time around, and he's still continuing to produce queens, which is good for him. Now, the Overlord does get picked off as well, so now Curious once again supply blocked at 44. We'll have to kind of try to overproduce an Overlord just to be able to produce enough units to hopefully defend and deal with this very efficiently. More Hellions rolling across. There is that Viking. Where's the Medevac? There it is. Medevac with 6 Marines coming across the map. More and more Hellions. Now, Armory is coming down right now. Armory is about halfway done. Like I said, I think it was a little bit late. In my opinion, the Armory was a little bit late from AxRyung right here, but still, it looks like that same build order that we saw from game number 1 is the same one we're going to see from game number 2. Now, this time around, Curious is going to try to hold it and defend off against this with more Queens and Banelings. Rather than Ling Roach Queen, he's going to go more Queens and more Banelings. I mean, just Banelings in general. So here we go. The Hellbats do form. The Banelings are forming. There's already a few done. AxRyung's going to have to split up right now. It's so hard to split Hellbats. They're not fast. They're not fast, but here they go. They continue to push on through. We do have Hellions starting to catch up, and that's the beauty of being able to produce Hellions and forming them right away into Hellbats. They rally very quickly across the map. More Marines joining the pack. Already AxRyung getting a lot of damage done. Spore Crawler, of course, will get taken out right away. Viking is going to land and help out this ground army. Now drones are going to be under a little bit of duress. And will we see Curious be able to, or find a way to hold this off? He's trying to form some more Banelings along the way, but now all of these drones are basically dead. Queens are getting pushed off of creep on the left side of the third base, and yeah, man, it gets really sketchy. Once the Queens start going down, it gets really sketchy. Now, more Banelings are trying to form. He's going to try to take them out before they do get a chance to form, and he does indeed. Good play from AxRyung right there, making sure to focus fire him. I think that sealed his game. I think that sealed his win right there. By killing those 5 Banelings, that sealed his game. AxRyung, just in case, is going to be lifting off a pack of units. He needs to re-drop them out again, actually, and he's actually going to go land in them most likely inside the main base at this point. 16 Lings in production, third base behind all of this going on, +1 and a Banshee. So if this didn't do enough damage, I know that Banshee will later come in and do its due diligence, but man, I think this is done. Curious dropping to 44 supply, 83 for AxRyung, 27 workers, 1 hatch completely useless at this point aside the larva, but you could already see there's a huge pre-split going on. Banelings are trying to run by and trying to hit the most units that they possibly can. Don't even take out the Hellbats, and AxRyung takes the series to 2-1. Moves on to the round of 32. Okay, he's just moving on to the round of 32, by the way. That was a round of 64 matchup.